Hello and welcome to the Virtual Racing League, live tonight from Bristol Motor Speedway for the VRL Bristol 200. Around the half-mile Colosseum here in Bristol, Tennessee. Going to be a very fun one here tonight. Some short track racing action. The world's fastest half-mile. So many great racing moments have happened at this place. And looking forward to some very competitive racing out here tonight in the Virtual Racing League. Some of the best drivers on the sim going to do battle here this evening. We want to welcome you here to V-Speed and thank you for joining us. Tonight's race is 200 laps, right there at 100 miles, this half-mile racetrack. That's the math right there. 50 laps for stage number 1, and this is race 15 of 25 after tonight's event. Only a handful more races until we get to the playoffs. Looking at it right now, we've got Nashville Superspeedway, the Daytona Roval, and Daytona. So 3 more races following tonight's event before we get to the playoffs. Drivers have to find their footing here tonight and try and make their charge into the top 12 if they're not already there. Let's take a look at how they stack up coming into tonight's race here at Bristol. Current points leader is AJ Stravato. He has 2 race victories on the season, and he leads by just 3 points over Connor Horn, who has 4 wins. But Connor did miss a race, but that shows just how consistent he's been. He's still in the title fight for regular season champion. Alec Martinez, about 100 points back from those two. Locked in to the playoffs on points alone. Wins do not lock you in the Virtual Racing League, so drivers have to point their way in no matter what. Adam Cabot with his 2 race victories and that margin to the cut line, he's in. Dylan Parker nearly locked in. He's got almost enough points to do so. Keith Mayato, he finds himself right up there, about 100 points ahead of the cut line. Safe Ferris, Jeff Wright, also winners this season. Yusuf Ghali, still looking for his first race win of the season. And he is in the 9th position coming into tonight's race. Currently second quick in qualifying. Greg Wellen, who won at iRacing Super Speedway 2 weeks ago. He finds himself now in the top 10 in points. So a good season so far for the driver in the number 94. Mark Emerson, 11th, and Jeremiah Vincent, 12th. Just very close to that cut line. 8 points up for Mark, 2 points up for Jeremiah. You can see it's still going to be pretty tight at the cut line for a handful of drivers. Angelo Ronas, Elliott Butler, Garrett Kite, Eric Hutton, Jeremy Miller, Zach Halpern, Eddie Trejo, Joe Stafford, all trying to find their way into the top 12. Some closer than others, and they can set themselves up for potentially a charge to that position. We take a look at Zach Halpern. That 7 machine out on track right now completes lap number 1 of qualifying. That'll put him 7th, or rather 4th out of 8. Take a look at the qualifying ticker. Only 8 drivers with a lap time. Here comes Safe Ferris. In a smaller field here this evening. I would expect that is somewhat due to the Firecracker 400 preliminary races and some of the drivers that we're used to seeing out here on the track week in and week out on Wednesdays are probably participating in that event. Oh, Safe Fair is hard in the wall, and he is not going to have a lap time count as he hits the wall passing the start-finish line. We see Jeff Wright out here getting up to speed. Jeff, who won earlier in this season at Sonoma. You can see a little bit tight out of the corner there as he winds it back up through 3 and 4. Actually, it looks like he's going to come to a stop. Maybe reset for another attempt. We want to welcome you if you're tuned in here this evening, though, and you're electing to watch us. You can also have that Firecracker 400 pulled up on another screen if you've got one there. Sure to be a great race. Some great people involved in that one. But we're so glad you've chosen to tune in here with us on YouTube. As Jeff Wright headed back to the start-finish line, that time around 14:78, which will put him 4th quick. As Connor Horn gets lap number 1 in, he's going to improve on lap 2. Running the low line. And across the line of 14:95. So 12th out of 12 drivers. Jeremiah Vincent Sayfair is either not getting a time or unable to get a time. So Connor maybe getting some practice in. A bit unusual to see him start towards the rear. Only 14 drivers in tonight's field. So he won't have to go through as many as if it was a full field. Just a few moments left here, though. Let's take a look at the weather coming into tonight's race. 86-degree track temp. Should be plenty of grip for these guys, but you could see them sliding around a little bit. So maybe the setup is just pretty loose. But looking forward to a great one here. And qualifying has wrapped up. Let's go to our starting grid to see where your favorite drivers are starting in tonight's race. Starting on pole, it's going to be Keith Mayato, the number 36 machine with a 14.717. He tops the board, and Jeremy Miller going to join him alongside on the front row, the 14.726. So just 9 1,000 separating those two drivers. Rolling off from row number 2 is going to be AJ Stravato, the points leader, and Angelo Ronis in the 4th position. Starting in 5th tonight, Jeff Wright. Starting in 6th, Zach Halpern, who finds himself deep in the top 20, trying to find his way up into the top 12. And I think at this point, maybe just a little bit out of reach, but still going to make a push for it. Yusuf Ghali, 7th on the grid. Elliot Butler rolling off from 8th. Starting 9th, last race winner, Greg Wellen. Starting in 10th, Garrett Kite. Starting 11th, it'll be Marcus Emerson. Rolling off 12th, it's Connor Horn. Starting 13th, Jeremiah Vincent. And Sayfair is going to be rolling off from the 14th position, and that is going to do it for the field this evening. Just 14 drivers in tonight's race. A small field, but hopefully not too small on action. Some of the best guys are out here this evening. And we've got a packed crowd waiting to see these guys go at it. Waiting for the last car to grid up. Cheer on your favorite driver. Let us know you're out there, who you're rooting for, and who to follow along with throughout tonight's race. As waiting for Jeff Wright to grid up before we get rolling here tonight from Bristol Motor Speedway. If you've never been to this racetrack, it's definitely an incredible place to go to. I had the pleasure of going back in 2005, and a packed crowd there that day. 160,000 people around a half-mile racetrack, and just an incredible sight to behold. I know they don't quite pack the stands like that anymore, but hopefully sometime soon they'll get back to doing that. But as the field rolls around, we do see Jeff Wright was able to grid to the pit lane, but he is not going to be starting in the field. He'll have to start from pit road. And there is some interesting rules for getting around the track onto pit road here at Bristol. You've got pit lanes on both sides of the track. I don't think we have enough drivers to use the backstretch, but either way, it can get very interesting if you've got a full field of drivers. Field pacing around for the second time tonight. They'll be racing the stage number 1 at the end of lap number 50. And we'll see who's got the short run and who's got the long run pace. As Keith Mayato will be the leader here with Jeremy Miller to his outside. Keith looking for win number 2. Jeremy looking for his first this season. They've got quick cars. And green flag in the air. We are underway from Bristol for the VRL Bristol 200. Side by side they go. You'll notice quick lap times around this place. And taking a look to see if Jeff Wright, he did get back on track, but you can see the field already about a half lap ahead of him. As there is the 48. Liotto just across the line to complete lap number 2, and he'll lead Jeremy Miller right there behind him. Jeremy right up against that outside wall. You got to be careful. Although sometimes the outside wall gives you an advantage here in iRacing. Look at the big wiggle there from the 30 and the 29. As they both hang on to it. Some good driving from those two. Liotto still leading. You see Jeremy Miller loose again. We got a battle a bit farther back. That is AJ Stravato trying to hold off this line of race cars. Connor Horn already up 5 positions into the 7th spot. And big wiggle there from Elliott Butler. But AJ Stravato, I've got a feeling he's just saving some tires. Letting these guys try and make the pass. Meanwhile, he cruises up there in the outside lane. Connor Horn, just spoke about him. Up a few positions already. Up to the 7th position right now. And it's pretty intense going around here at these kinds of speeds. I mean, at the end of the straightaway here, topping 140, almost 145. And down through the corners, you're only dropping to about 115. With this 750 horsepower package, you do gain speed pretty quickly. Right now, everybody utilizing that high line. We do see the 54 of Yusuf Ghali dive low, and he's fighting against Safe Ferris right now. Safe with a little bit of right front damage as he's caught that outside wall. Mark Emerson back here riding in that 10th position. Top 8 drivers earn points at the end of the stage. Drivers like Mark and Jeremiah Vincent and others maybe needing some of those points. Mark right now not in position to gain any. And Jeff Wright has taken it behind the wall. Not sure if he just had to make a quick start and otherwise had to tend to other matters, but he will be behind the wall. 13 drivers left in the race, just 13 laps in. Should be a pretty clean green one here, and we should be able to knock all these laps out really quickly. As AJ Stravato still holding off Elliott Butler and Garrett Kite. Welcome, Thomas. AKA Dad, thanks for watching. Right now, battle maybe brewing here between Yusuf Ghali and Connor Horn. This is going to be 7th and 8th positions. Safe Ferris right there behind him. He's been able to keep up with this group. The top 9 all in line. And then a little ways back, Mark Emerson maybe saving his stuff a little bit. Jeremiah Vincent right here behind him. And then Zach Halpern a little bit farther back. I think he's got some right front damage. Greg Wellen currently last of the drivers on track. And this is the winner of the last race, but Greg not having quite the performance so far in this one, but still so early. And he's only 5.2 seconds back. Should be in good shape to stay on the lead lap before the stage. As Liotto continues to show the way, we've seen Keith have some good speed. And he finally got that win off his back as we've got cars with issues. That's Garrett Kite around on the front stretch. Oh, and he got tagged by Connor Horn. He checked up for maybe Elliott Butler. They were racing side by side. This is the replay. He tried to slide back up into the groove maybe. Nope, just tagged by the 67 of Connor Horn. And around he goes. No yellow flag as he was off the racing surface. But maybe another driver done for the day is Garrett sitting on pit lane. And he'll have an extended stop there. I think he had to tow it. May call it an evening. So Keith Maotto leading by 0.6 of a second over Jeremy Miller. And then a little ways back, about a second to Angelo Ronas. And now we have side by side between Elliott Butler and Safe Fares. Elliott starting to struggle a little bit here. He started in 8th, but he is losing spots now to 9th. Here comes Jeremiah Vincent following Mark Emerson up through, trying to get up into those points positions. Both Jeremiah and Mark could really use the points, as they're the two closest to the cut line on the inside. Right now, Mark's starting to put some pressure on Safe Fares. This is for the 7th position. Still looking for battles to emerge as Yusuf Ghali has been all over Connor Horn for this first bit of the race. That 54 car looking pretty good using the middle groove. As there goes Connor, works to the inside of Angelo Ronas, who's lost a couple spots here over the last few laps. He's going to get into the outside wall. There goes Yusuf Ghali trying to shoot the gap, but not going to be able to make it work on the 67. Still following Connor up through as they've now driven up to 4th and 5th positions. AJ Stravato's taken over the 3rd spot. That 33 car, though, he can see the matte black Toyota Camry closing in from behind. As Mark Emerson and Jeremiah Vincent, I think, saving tires. They've gotten around Safe Fares, and Angelo Ronas has dropped like a rock here with heavy right side damage. He is down 4 positions and about to lose another one. Zach Halpern also starting to close back in to this group up here. So Zach just kind of biding his time, it looked like, in the back there. And maybe going to start to make a run for it as he closes in on this side-by-side battle. Safe Fares takes over the 8th position. There goes Zach, sends it down to the inside. And really big wiggle there. That'll check up both he and the 29. Meanwhile, Keith Maotto has driven away from the field now 1.5 seconds in front of Jeremy Miller. And Garrett Kite rolling back on the racetrack, currently 13 laps off the pace. And taking a look at lap times, fastest car on track last time by, that was AJ Stravato. This time around, the driver of the 36 out in front, Keith Maotto, he was the quickest car with a 15.809. Stravato pretty close to that, but not quite as quick. Yellow flag flying, though. Safe Fares with some issues. He's got rear end damage, so maybe some contact. We've got a yellow flag here on lap number 36. Let's take a look. And Safe was racing it up with Zach Halpern. These guys fighting for that last stage point position. Zach gets up behind him. What happens with Safe? Well, gets into him a little bit in the corner. A couple taps. Safe does a pretty good job locking it down. Able to really hang on to it. for the most part, but slow up in front of Greg Wellen. That's what generated the caution flag. Jeremy Miller brings it to the pit lane from second spot. And we'll see if he's able to drive back up through there. Actually, it looks like almost everybody is bringing it in. Jeremiah Vincent stays out on the racetrack. But, yeah, Jeremiah, Zach, and Jeremy Miller. So Jeremy, I don't know how he got to the pit lane and stayed on the lead lap. That's pretty amazing. But he's already been on pit lane. Safe Fares must have missed his box. He comes off pit lane. Looks like Keith will win the battle off of drivers that did stop and take tires. And drivers getting some damage repaired. That is Angelo Ronis. Greg Wellen able to pass him up in the pit lane. So Angelo gets rolling here, though, just to stay on that lead lap. Meanwhile, at the front, Jeremiah Vincent and Zach Halpern. Zach, who was involved in the yellow. He'll be up here on the front row. So we'll have two drivers on old tires. We've got Jeremy Miller, who somehow leapfrogged the rest of the field with the pit strategy. I don't know how he did it. But either way, he's going to be in a good spot to potentially win this stage. He'll have to navigate past these two on older tires. We'll see what kind of fall off there is. I think they're probably about a second off the fast lap times at this point. So it could get pretty dicey here in the first few rows. As the pace truck continues to circulate around, still already 1/5 of the way through this race. Just like that. As Jeremiah will have control. He'll get him going. Green flag back in the air. Big wiggle there for Zach Halpern. He might stack him up on the outside. He's really struggling. They get 3-4 wide. Mark Emerson tried to shoot the gap, but that checked him up big time. Jeremy Miller goes straight to the front, though, as Jeremiah Vincent now going to be hanging on for dear life. As now, look at this, farther back. Halpern dropping like a rock. Cars going 2-3 wide. Very difficult to do at this racetrack, but at the front, Jeremy Miller's taking over that top spot. Looking for his first playoff point of the season if he can win the stage. Not too far behind him, AJ Stravato, Yusuf Ghali fighting it out for second spot. Jeremiah Vincent now getting passed up by Elliott Butler. Looks like Connor Horn got some damage in that whole mix-up there as the 9, really big wiggle there. Still trying to hang on to a point in the stage, but they are closing in rapidly. Here comes Mayato and Mark Emerson. Jeremiah going to try and push the 36 down the track, but not going to work. He's going to get passed up by both those drivers now into the final spot. Going to try and hang on for 5 more laps. Maybe not the right call at this point, but perhaps trying to save a set of tires. Get a little advantage when the yellow flies for the end of the stage. But he is dropping like a rock. We'll see if he can even... He should be able to stay on the lead lap. I don't see an issue with that as he's getting passed up now by... That was Garrett Kite, Angelo Ronis as well. But meanwhile, out front, Jeremy Miller, 1.1 seconds over AJ Stravato. AJ's pulled away from the next position as it looks like Yusuf maybe with an issue. He dropped to 4th. Elliott Butler takes over 3rd spot. And just a couple more laps. Jeremy Miller, though, across the start-finish line. It'll be 1 more to go when he gets to the line this time. And definitely shaking things up here at the end of stage number 1 as Keith Mayato looked like he was well on his way to winning it. And looks like he may end up 6th after all is said and done. He's going to shoot it way to the outside. try and get some kind of a run on Connor. Look at the 54, big wiggle. Caution flies. That is the 8 of Garrett Kite. Going around. He lost it. All on his own. That's going to give the stage win to Jeremy Miller. Take a look at what happened here to the 8 of Garrett Kite. Just loses it on the front stretch. Couldn't hang on to it. Loops it around, keeps it down there on the apron, but yellow flag flies as they are headed back down. So it looks like Jeremy Miller, AJ Stravato, Elliott Butler, Yusuf Ghali, Connor Horn, Keith Mayato, Mark Emerson, Angelo Ronis. The top 8 drivers earning points in the stage there. Now Safe Fares will stay on the racetrack along with Jeremy Miller. Actually, Jeremy missed his pit box, it appears. And everybody else brings it down pit road for at least one set of tires. Angelo Ronis just taking fuel there, a 4-second pit stop. So he'll be on older Goodyear Eagles. And Jeremy Miller perhaps got speeding as well. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on with the number 30, but he is letting all these guys pass. I think speeding and missed his pit box, so a mistake there from the stage winner. That'll set him towards the rear. And Safe Fares will inherit the race lead. We're going to cut to a quick... Well, actually, no. Let's talk to the stage winner. We're not going to have too many opportunities to talk to people tonight, so we'll see if we can pull them up here.
Yeah.
Jeremy Miller, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Well, Jeremy, you win the stage there, but it looks like a couple mistakes during the yellow flag. Did you miss the pit box or have a penalty?
I forgot about the cone rule because this is like the only track over in Darlington with it, so I got an illegal pit entrance.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a definitely confusing pit road here. But obviously, the car's feeling good. How do you feel about the rest of the way?
We have a top 5 car. We're not going to win this race unless we get some stuff to go our way. Just got good track position there because I was the only one that pit on the first lap, so no one else noticed pits were open. I just was able to drive away with the clean air.
Yeah, definitely looked like you had the car to beat there, especially those last 10 laps. But you start up there in the front row and looking fast out there tonight. Yep. I think you guys are going green next time around, so good luck rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right, that was Jeremy Miller. Driver, the number 30 machine. As he catches back up to the field, he'll be restarting shotgun on the field. Right now, 11th. As Connor Horn and Greg Wellen actually brought it back down, so he'll restart in 10th. Connor with that rear end and front end damage. Maybe trying to get a bit of that fixed, but he just topped up on fuel. That's actually all he did. Pace truck lights are off. We'll be going green this time around. Safe Fares, those older tires, he'll get them going. They stack up on the inside. 3 wide headed across the start-finish line for second. And Elliott Butler gets the jump on the high side, but here comes Stravato looking down low. And you can see the difference right there. Safe Fares really slow out of the corner. They're going to stack up all behind him for the race lead. Safe Fares continues to lead. But they are angry hounds there behind him. He gets tapped a little bit by Elliott Butler, trying to save it. Does a great job. They keep it green, but there is not a lot of give here tonight. So far it's been pretty much all take as we go 3 wide again. Look at Jeremiah Vincent peeking through the middle. Maybe a little contact there. Jeremy Miller gets tagged down low. Continuing to race side by side, and Safe Fares dropping like a rock from 1st to 7th. Meanwhile, Elliott Butler has taken over the lead, and he's about 3/4 of a second out in front of Keith Mayato. And blinking as the battle for second, Mayato and Stravato, these two no strangers to each other. Seemingly, when AJ has had good races, Keith has had some good strong races as well this season with the Nashville Fairgrounds being one of those examples. Keith got the win. AJ second. After a crazy turn of events late in that one, but now the battle for third. Here comes Yusuf Ghali peeking down low. Trying to get the drive off. Big wiggle there. He's going to stack up right in front of Jeremiah Vincent. How about this? Safe Fair is back up to 6th. Looks like he maybe made the pass on Angelo Ronas, who's starting to struggle again. Heavy damage on that car. Little craziness with this restart and the last one. And Elliott Butler has escaped. He is out in front by 1.1 seconds. As we reach the nearly the third mark in this race. The battle here for second. Everybody chasing AJ Stravato. On board with Yusuf Ghali in the 4th position, trying to track him down. He's right here on the back bumper. We've seen Yusuf cutting low on exit and also running a lower groove at times. Right there's an example. Hard to get the drive off, but if you can master that low line, you can make up a lot of spots here. And we had an issue. That might have been Safe Ferris, actually. So, yeah, it looks like he and Jeremy Miller got together. Going back and looking at it now. He was trying to come up the track, got loose. And big hit for Jeremy. He tagged the inside wall. Really good job hanging onto it for the most part, but lost it there at the end. Brought it down the pit lane. Back out on the racetrack now, but pretty well behind. And he and Safe Fair is still close to each other on the track. Maybe there will be a little bit of payback or something. I think Greg Wellen with an issue as well. Let's keep an eye on these two. Jeremy not quite close enough, but he is definitely closing in on the 44. He is almost there now. And he is going to repay the favor. Contact drama. And Safe into him. Oh, hard in the outside wall. That car is destroyed. And here come the leaders. Safe going to keep it down low on the track. Out of the way of Elliott Butler. And then AJ Stravato continues to lead the rest of the field. Safe comes to a halt, though, down on the apron. He's going to take it behind the wall. And his night is over. Maybe the admins told him that was it. I know retaliation is not taken lightly in most leagues, especially mid-race with such a small field, as we are down to 11 drivers left in this one, and Jeremy Miller nearly a lap down right now, just a couple seconds in front of Elliott Butler. Heavy damage on the 30, though. The winner of stage 1, things have gone south very quickly. And maybe an example of the commentator's curse, unfortunately. So sorry about that, Jeremy. How about Connor Horn, though? He is up 5 spots from where he restarted. Able to avoid all this chaos and madness, and right now trying to track down Mark Emerson. Connor maybe being down a little bit of power might help with the handling of that race car. Meanwhile, that battle for second still not over. Mayato has not been able to find a way around, and the leader pulling away now 1.5 seconds out in front for Elliott Butler, who's got to be loving what he's seeing. Although he gets into the wall pretty hard right there, that could cost him some time. He'll have to contend with the 30 of Jeremy Miller, who's going to try and stay on that lead lap. but maybe he will just let the leaders on by. He knows how damaged he is, I think. And as I said, Elliott Butler was pulling away. Here comes AJ Stravato running a 10th faster the last 2 laps. And he has cut that margin down by now 3.5 tenths. So the 33 and the 36 and the 54 all faster than the race leader. Maybe an example of Elliott Butler pulling out all the stops too soon. As that gap now right down to about a second. And could be also the dirty air from the 30 in front of that 6 machine. Keith Mayato, who looked like he was on his way to winning the stage, did not get that extra playoff point, but still up here fighting for the 2nd spot. He's led 37 of the 83 laps completed. And a handful of other drivers leading laps here tonight as we are approaching halfway. Don't expect really any cautions at this point unless drivers getting really aggressive with one another. We might even see a green flag pit stop with the run being as long as it's going to be. Taking a look a little farther back, Mark Emerson racing it up with Jeremiah Vincent. Big run there for the 22. He'll look down low, headed down into turn number 3. And alongside the 9, up out of turn 4, across the line, not able to get the power down. Zach Halpern right here in the mix as well. He's in the 8th spot. I think Zach pretty much needs to win the next 3 races to make it in the playoffs. I know he said that he was going to try as hard as he could, and once he knew he wasn't in it, he might join me up here in the booth. So we'll see how it goes for him tonight, if he can end up on top of the podium or up there in the top 3. But doing a good job here, tracking down these 2 in front of him right now. This 6th, 7th, and 8th place battle. And at the front, we've had a change for the lead. AJ Stravato has gotten past Elliott Butler. Let's see what happened. They just caught up to him. And the 6 really tight in the center of the corner. You see AJ just drive it down the hill. Got underneath him. Able to drive right on past. So Elliott Butler feeling those tires, already back to 3rd as Mayato has gotten past him. And Yusuf Ghali not far behind. He could take over the 3rd spot. Connor Horn also starting to track the leaders down. He's up to 5th. And last time around, the 3rd fastest car on track was that 67. And even with all that damage, still somehow getting every bit of speed out of the race car that he can. As AJ Stravato taking over the race lead. It's been about 40 laps on this run. And if my math is correct, they'll have to go about 150 to the end of the race. I don't know if the tires will last that long. And what the fuel situation is as well. We've got a battle a little bit farther back here, side by side. Mark Emerson, Jeremiah Vincent, Zach Halpern. When Zach got behind Safe Fair, is kind of similar situation. Oh, contact there. The 9 hanging onto it. They're going to hit doors, but they keep it going. Green flag still out. And that 7 car not making any friends here tonight. He's worn out the right front, we'll say that, but it's been effective. He has gotten a few positions out of it, and he's been able to get away from those that he got into. So Zach maybe going to try and keep some distance between himself and the 9 as the race plays out. You know, up front, Keith Mayato really putting the pressure on the 33. They are about to make the pass on Jeremy Miller, who will finally go a lap down. Angelo Ronis also not too far up the road from the leaders. But this battle is pretty intense. Mayato has got the speed on the long run here. AJ Stravato looks like he maybe wore his stuff out. Here goes Keith. Looks down to the inside. So hard to complete that pass. He'll come up the track a little. Just can't get back to the gas. Too tight in the center of the corner. Mayato hounding that 33, though. They are pretty well nose to tail, and they've got a big gap back to Connor Horn, who's taken over third. And as they run, Connor a bit faster than Mayato, but this time around, the top two a bit quicker than the 67, but not by a whole lot. So top three clearly the fastest. They're at least a tenth or two faster than everybody else. Elliott Butler, who led all those laps, 32 to be exact, right now back to fourth position. And Yusuf Ghali's not been able to get around him. I'm a bit surprised by that, but maybe Yusuf has worn his stuff up too. Mark Emerson closing in. So Mark has been saving his stuff pretty well. He's actually running very competitive lap times right now, about a tenth or so off the race leader. And Zach Halpern, a tenth faster than Mark. So this 7 car pretty good here on the long run. The only problem is he is 7 seconds off the leader. So he's going to have to hope for a yellow flag to get caught back up. But points leader AJ Stravato with the race lead. And Mayato all over the back. And as these two race it up, the lap time's starting to fall off for these two. Connor Horn might start to track them down. Let's see what the lap times are this time. Stravato at 260, Mayato at 337, and Connor Horn a 194. So a tenth and a half faster than Mayato, and about 700ths faster than Stravato. This time AJ down in the 3s, Mayato in the high 2s, Connor once again a 184. So he is chopping into that lead as these two continue to battle. I think if Mayato gets out in front, he may run away. But Connor hoping that they just continue to fight it out, because he is closing in a tenth or so every lap. But now a little dirty air in front of the 67. He's starting to feel those effects. That time a bit slower than the leader. You can never count out this 67, no matter if his car is damaged. He had to start at the back. That time a tenth and a half quicker than the leaders, so he is coming. And it's about 60 laps into the race. The top two inseparable right now. Looking for other battles. Mark Emerson, Yusuf Ghali starting to get closer and closer, and Zach Halpern back here as well. It looks like Elliott Butler with connection problems. He is fading even more. Look at the big slide right there. Already back to 5th. Might lose that position now. Here goes Mark Emerson. He'll drive right on by. And Zach Halpern next in line. He might get to the outside and make the pass right here. Good run for the 7. He will get the nose in front, down into 1 and 2. He'll take that spot away. Jeremiah Vincent brought it on the pit lane 13 laps ago. Currently 1 lap down. He was 2 laps down, just got one of those back, it appears. Meanwhile, battle for the race lead still. Just a car length between these two, not even. And Connor Horn has cut another 6/10 out of the race lead. So he is coming 2/10 a lap faster right now. He'll be there in just 11 laps if he keeps up this kind of pace. That time about a tenth faster, so Yeah, 10 to 20 laps. Connor Horn could be up here in the mix. But Jeremiah Vincent, with the pit strategy, he could potentially just leapfrog these guys by enough. And here's another challenge for the race lead. Mayato is there, but just can't get the drive up off the corner. That high line's so strong, and Keith gonna try again on this end of the track. Just can't quite get there, but a better run still there. Keith figuring it out a little bit that time, not quite as good a run. But he's got the pressure on, and these two losing a lot of time now to Connor Horn. Here comes Yusuf Ghali to pit road. He'll make a pit stop early. Well, not early, about 70 laps in. But pretty much splitting the run in half. We'll see if any of the other leaders elect to bring it down and respond to that. 80 laps to go. And the top two out in front, but Connor Horn creeping into the picture. The gap now just 1.8 seconds from Connor up to AJ. It might be smart for AJ to just let Keith have the spot potentially. As there is that 67. Closer and closer he is getting. And Keith just can't do anything about the 33. Just all over the bumper. Just so hard to make a pass this late into a run. So he looks to the outside, trying to get there. Almost got there, and AJ shuts the door on him again. But Keith really good in the center and just can't make that pass work. He is losing so much time here behind the 33. And they are both losing tons of time to Connor, but AJ, he's got the roadblock out. Really not a whole lot he can do. There goes Yusuf Ghali. Going to go back by. He'll get one of his 2 laps back. And Connor Horn to pit road. He's going to try and leapfrog the leaders. When do they respond? Here comes Zach Halpern also onto pit road. Mark Emerson, Elliott Butler also on the pit lane. And the leaders, AJ Stravato, Keith Mayato onto pit road. And maybe overshooting for the 36. Nope, good, solid entries for both. We'll see how it all cycles out. Right now, Keith Mayato shown as the leader. There goes Jeremiah Vincent. He'll take the lead away. Pitted 25 laps sooner than these guys. And meanwhile, Keith Mayato beats AJ Stravato off pit road, but Connor Horn has gotten by both of them. Yusuf Ghali right there in front of him. And issues for AJ Stravato. He has been on pit road for 40 seconds. And a speeding penalty most likely for the 33. And that could end the day of the driver, the Waste Management Camaro. As he will get going, yes, 40-second speeding penalty. How about this? Jeremiah Vincent out in front of Jeremy Miller, who has yet to stop. And then Yusuf Ghali about 6 seconds back. Just don't know if this is going to be the move for Jeremiah. Pitted so much earlier. And the fall off just so significant here. Right now about a half a second a lap slower as Jeremy right in front of Connor Horn and Yusuf Ghali. And Connor has gotten past the 54. Connor Horn could be on his way to a race win the way this is working out. Keith Mayato got leapfrogged. They needed to make the stop before Connor. He ended up doing the undercut on them, and a great pit cycle there. He was actually Keith had the fastest pit cycle of anyone, 27 seconds on pit lane, compared to Connor's 28. But still lost what would be the net lead as Jeremiah Vincent most likely is kind of a sitting duck out here. There's AJ Stravato. I think currently 2 laps down. Yeah, just 2 laps down now. So he was 3 laps down with the penalty. Trying to keep track of all of that. Only one driver has yet to stop, and that is Jeremy Miller, currently 5th position. A stage 1 winner. Open for a yellow, but going to be tough to get that. Greg Wellen 1 lap down. Angelo Ronis 1 lap down. AJ Stravato last of all the drivers left racing in 11th position. And 2 laps behind the race leader. Speaking of the race leader, Connor Horn is tracking him down. It's 1.5 seconds now between the 9 and the 67. And they should not have to make another stop. I think we'll be good to the end from here. I think Jeremiah Vincent might be splitting this race run into thirds, possibly. He already made his first stop, and he's already been out here 40 laps. And Connor Horn back, or now to the race lead, the first time tonight. But don't look now, the 36 of Mayato, he is still there, just a half second behind. And the 54 of Yusuf Ghali not far off either. We got a battle back here. I think Mark Emerson, Zach Halpern, Elliott Butler. And 6-car blinking like crazy. And this has got to be disconcerting for the drivers behind him. But Connor Horn, he's driven all the way up to the race lead now. He has control of this race, pretty much the same tires as the driver behind him. And Jeremiah Vincent did just bring it back down pit lane, as well as now Jeremy Miller brings it on the pit road. He'll get service completed on that race car. And what will be most likely his last stop. But Jeremiah Vincent now 2 laps down with about a 20-lap advantage on tires. I think it's going to be difficult to make up spots. But right now, still scored in 9th. I mean, it's a top 10 pretty much no matter what you do at this point. Looking for battles here. Still this kind of 3-way battle for 5th, 6th, 7th between Zach Halpern, Mark Emerson, Elliott Butler. Angelo Ronis right there as well, but he is a lap down. And AJ Stravato, of course, 2 laps down, currently 10th. Out in front, though, the 36 of Mayato just not able to close in on the 67. Here comes Jeremiah Vincent, the fresher tires. He's starting to close in on these leaders, trying to get one of his 2 laps back. And you can see the difference in tires there. I mean, he ran a 15 flat. Connor Horn ran a 15.5. Mayato a 15.5 as well. Mayato was actually a little bit faster than Connor Horn last time around, but we'll see if, yeah, that lap a couple tenths slower with the 9-car going on past. But Jeremiah being out in front of the 67 could cause some aero issues for that Toyota Camry. And the 94 of Greg Wellen, also not far up the road. He is currently on the tail end of the lead lap. 7th position, about 14 seconds back. With a little less than 50 to go. We'll see if he can remain on the lead lap. I think it's going to be a tall order to do so. that time around. Equal lap times for our top two, so Keith's gonna have to find something else. Figure out a little different way around this track to close in, as right now Connor using that low lane. Like I said, you can really make up some ground there if you know how to run it. Just so difficult to do it correctly, with that high line being very easy to run. Keith is making up some ground right now, a half-tenth faster that time. The gap right now at 5.5 tenths, but that goes back up to 6 tenths through 1 and 2. Yeah, and pretty much just mirroring lap times right now, so it's going to be very tough to make that pass happen if Keith can even get there, like what we saw with AJ Stravato in front of him. We've got a few drivers back here. This is Mark Emerson now up to 5th. Elliott Butler back to 6th. These guys only a few seconds up the road. Jeremiah Vincent looking for a position here as well. He's going to be racing with the 29. But about 15 lap fresher tires. And right now about a half second a lap faster. So Jeremiah trying to make up as many spots as he can with the alternate strategy. And I'm not sure, I think he'll have the same amount of tires as everybody else. If a yellow did fly, he's not in the lucky dog spot. Right now he would be, but Greg well in danger of getting lapped here in maybe the next 20 laps. At the front, Mayato closing in. The gap just 4 tenths. Maybe Connor pushed that car a little bit too hard. Maybe the dirty air is really affecting him now. That car with that damage and the way the track is rubbered up might just not be a great combination. Of course, Connor was way faster at the end of last run. And it'll be a very similar amount of laps here to the end of this one. Keith does have a 1 lap advantage on tires. It shouldn't make that much of a difference, but you never know. Next closest battle is Greg Wellman and Elliott Butler right here in front of the race leaders. Elliott still blinking pretty badly. And Greg in 7th spot has tracked him down from quite a distance behind. And this could create issues for the race leaders as they start to catch these cars that are pretty much as fast as they are. Oh, it looks like Greg going to just get out of the way, potentially. He'll let Connor on by. Here comes Keith. He'll try and make the pass on him. And then he will let them both go. Very respectful move there. And the two leaders now 0.3 of a second separating them. No other battles less than 2 seconds apart other than Greg Wellen and Elliott Butler. As now Elliott goes a lap down. Race leader just about 60 laps ago, 70 laps ago. Going 1 lap down at this point. And through all of that, Keith has really closed up the gap. Look at this. He is putting some pressure on Connor Horn. Gets a good run out of turn 4. He is at the bumper. Connor might be happy that bumper's pushed in another foot or two. It might be harder for Keith to get to it, because he is probably going to have to use it to get past that driver, the number 67, Connor Horn. Keith has gotten there. He was about 0.8 back, saved a little bit. 1 lap fresher tires, clean race car. All those things in combination, he has been able to catch up to Connor. And these two, I have no doubt, are the fastest cars on the racetrack. The only drivers really in the 15s, other than Jeremy Miller, who's got 20 lap fresher tires. Yeah, Jeremiah Vincent as well. He's got about 15 lap pressure tires. But this is what I was talking about. So difficult to make a pass when you're 45 laps into a run. You're going almost the same speed. I mean, that time 300ths faster for my auto. It's just not enough. You need to be about a 10th faster really to make any kind of pass on anyone. But they are closing up on Mark Emerson, the 5th place driver. Mark could go a lap down here, and this would leave just 4 cars on the lead lap. Zach Halpern, about 3 more seconds up the road. He could be in danger of getting lapped as well. Oh, big wiggle for my auto. Maybe he was looking to the inside. He did make a run at him and tried to get underneath. They made contact. Mark's going to get out of the way. At least 4 cars on the lead lap. And Keith, desperate for any kind of winning move here. He may have to push the 67 out of the way. I think he's a little bit quicker, but just not quite enough to get anything done with it. I think I heard an engine expire, potentially. Looking for other battles. Greg Wellen catching back up to Elliott Butler, just 6/10 between those 2 drivers. See Elliott there at the edge of the frame. Jeremy Miller in between them, currently riding in 10th position. And 2 laps down. AJ Stravato still 11th, 2 laps down. "20 laps to go, and Connor Horn hanging on to this race lead. But he has Keith Maato right behind him. Keith matching every move that Connor makes. And they are catching up to Angelo Ronis, who is currently 1 lap down, looking to go now 2 laps down. Zach Halpern in 4th up there, about to go a lap down as well. And Yusuf Ghali also just about 3 or 4 seconds in front of these guys. That shows you what kind of pace they are on and what kind of tire-saving masters these 2 are. Nobody can even touch them. I think AJ Stravato would have been the only one in the same zip code if he had not gotten the speeding penalty. So these 2, by far and away, the best cars, especially on this very long run. This makes you wonder if Keith had gotten the undercut on Connor, this race would be any different at this point. But right now, this is what it is. And Maado's got to do what he can. He's looking to the inside. Not going to be enough that time. 15 laps to go. At 36, getting desperate again, trying to find a way around. And I know one way. It's not pretty, though. But he may be trying to do that. The only thing is Keith has Zach Halpern in front of the 67 here. Zach is a teammate, I think, with Connor. And oh, there's a little bump right there. But Keith actually backed off of it. Not a big enough bump. So this is Zach Halpern right here in front of the leaders, and then Yusuf Ghali a little bit farther. Oh, here we go. Keith trying to pin Connor up behind the 7. And now Zach looks like he might be going low. And that was exactly what I thought. And Yusuf Ghali, the next car, also, I believe, a teammate with the 67. So Keith gonna have some struggles to get past these guys. But running very quick right now, and they are trying to navigate traffic. 10 laps to go. This is the battle for the win. will have lap traffic in the way, potentially. Yusuf Ghali up there. The last driver on the lead lap in third. Third place. And Jeremiah Vincent as well. Keith trying a couple new things. Trying to get to the back bumper. Sends it in deep into the corner. You can see him cut down the racetrack. There goes Yusuf Ghali to the inside. Jeremiah also going to get out of the way. So lap traffic not going to be as much a factor as we maybe thought. It'll be a one-on-one. There is a car out in front. Jeremiah Vincent, big wiggle right there. Mayato stalking Connor Horn. I told you. Might be a small field, but not small on action. It's going to come down to just the last few laps. We've got two drivers right on top of each other. Everybody else is a lap down. Absolutely incredible. And here goes Mayato. Really big dive down low. Going to be coming back to 5 laps remaining. Good run for the 36. He's going to stay alongside past the start-finish line. One more send here. He might have to use the door. Just trying to keep it down low. Connor with a little wiggle. Keith trying to get there. Connor not giving him any space at all. 4 laps to go. And it's not really Keith's style to shove people out of the way. I know that. But it is Bristol. And you might have to use the chrome horn even if you don't want to. It's just a little tap. I don't know if Keith is going to do it though. Side by side, look at this. This is fantastic. Lap after lap. Keith not making enough progress though. He's going to have to figure something out. Coming to 2 laps remaining. Good run for the V-Speed Camaro. But he is not close enough. A lap and a half. Connor Horn still in front. Keith goes to the high side this time. We'll see if he can cut down. Will he give the bumper to Connor Horn? White flag in the air. Really good run this time through 3 and 4. They have yet to go. Keith not close enough. Really gonna try and send it here out of the corner. Connor Horn gonna win the race. Connor Horn wins his 5th of the season. Holding off Keith Mayato. What a battle. And what a drive by those two who lapped everyone else in the field. If it hadn't been for the other driver, this would have been only the leader on the lead lap kind of thing. But Connor Horn, what a battle for him all race long with the damage. Able to get back in front. And once he got to the lead, he never gave it up. As close as it was there. Mayato a 10th away at the line. And Connor Horn wins here, leading 61 laps. That might be the most as well. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break. V-Speed is proud to be partnered with Below the Double Yellow podcast, a podcast for NASCAR fans by NASCAR fans. Listen to Nick and Joe discuss all the latest on-track action, available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. V-Speed is also proud to present the 2021 Below the Double Yellow Cup Series, brought to you by the American Trucking Association, starting January 14th, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursdays at twitch.tv/VSpeedSim.
Welcome to V-Speed, your home for sim racing excitement, providing dramatic moments from iRacing and beyond. We offer broadcasting for leagues across iRacing with specialized packages to help grow your league and advertise your sponsors.
Shot at it, I think, and right now Stravato with that advantage. It's half a car length the difference between first and second going into turn 1. He gives the bumper to Connor Horn.
These two have gone all year to get to this point. Jacob Shorba drifting up the racetrack. They make contact. The 88 goes around. The 95 goes around. The 12 caught in it.
Our design team can help you create anything from paint schemes to sim rig parts with expertise in both 2D and 3D design with 3D printing capabilities. Looking to get into broadcasting yourself? We can help you design and operate custom overlays to make your stream look as professional as possible. Our team can create and manage custom merchandise sales for you and your team. Check out our shop to see what we have in stock and how we can create some awesome merch for you. Check out our race replays on YouTube or catch us live weekly on Twitch. Visit us at vspeedsim.com to see how we can help you on your iRacing journey.
All right, and back at the racetrack now, going to be bringing up our race winner, Connor Horn. Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4.
Well, Connor, dominating drive there at the end, but man, you had to hold off the hungry dogs behind you, or hungry dog, I should say. Keith Mayato was all over you for, I don't know, 30, 40 laps. What a battle there. You held him off. How'd you get it done here tonight?
By running the top, because he wasn't going to pass me on the bottom if I just pinched him, which I did. I was just making sure I didn't get to my right rear. If he got to my right rear, the race was over because I somehow blew the tires off it. I know I had damage, but I don't know how. I didn't think he'd catch me. I know he had a lap newer tires, but I feel like I just drove the tires off him. But I was luckily, track position matters a lot at Bristol, so I was able to hold him off, and it helped that AJ got caught speeding because it would have been difficult holding both those guys off. I probably would have gotten set by one of them because they raced each other hard. So if you put me in there, it would have been double trouble. But we held on, managed, and all that. There's a good fight to the end. I'm glad I came out on top.
Yeah, and you started towards the rear tonight, and at another point you looked like you topped off on fuel and you came from the rear. I know a small field tonight, but what was it like trying to make those passes and get up there to the front?
Just waiting on people to make mistakes, really, because it's hard enough to pass as it is. There was no reason to burn the tires up at the beginning of a run when you know you're just not going to be able to clear up. When they're in like a 4-car line like that on the top, you can't make a pass because they're all packed up. You don't have room to slide job anyone. So you just kind of have to bide your time and wait it out and just wait for them to fall off. And I know Mark let me by, Jeremiah let me by, and I know Elliot started falling off. He was struggling saving the tires, and I got by Zach before the restart. Greg the same, and Angelo struggled as well. And it was just those two after Yusuf fell off as well. And I caught those two by 2 seconds by the time I pit. I knew I wasn't going to be able to, if I didn't beat them on the pit road, I wasn't going to pass them. So I had to do something different. So I undercut, and I got by Keith, and luckily AJ got caught speeding, so that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I mentioned at one point, like, what would this race be like if they had pitted 1 or 2 laps before you? I think it probably may have been difficult to win at that point. It's so hard to pass that late in a run, but your 5th victory of the season coming here tonight at Bristol. We go to Nashville Super Speedway next week. I don't know if you've gotten any chance to experiment with that track, or what are your thoughts on that one?
I had runs on it before the update. It was really fun. It's a high-speed track, high speeds, 180 into the corners, but at the same time, it's hard braking zones into 1 and 3. That's the Nashville Super Speedway I made laps on. I know they did grip updates to it. And I know the fixed set that iRacing puts out is a plow box, so hopefully the setup next week's good, and I think we'll have hard racing. I think it was better before the updates from what I've heard, but we'll have to wait and see. I love the track. Look, like I said, the hard braking zones, and it's fast, and you got the apron to work with, and it's just a really fun track. It has 1.5-mile elements and short track elements. I think it should be a blast. Hopefully it's fun next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and getting to see some racing action there for the first time. In my time on iRacing, I haven't seen the track really yet, but it should be fun to see something new for once. But yeah, you win the race here tonight. Your 5th victory, started 12th. You lead 61 laps on your way, and you hold off a hard-charging Keith Mayato. Anybody you want to give a shout-out to?
Teammates, Yusuf Ghali, Zach Halpern got 3rd and 4th. So Yusuf was struggling to save the tires, but he was able to short pit and get up to 3rd. And Halpern had a good run, which he needs if he wants to make the playoffs. Jeremy was probably a top 3, top 5 car, but he got caught up in someone else's issues. He got damage he couldn't recover, and also, just a shout out to Brandon McKissick. You spotting Yusuf. He's probably gonna win the Road to Pro Round 1 championship. So he's I appreciate having his company in the channel as well. It's nice talking to him, and it was for the most part, it was a fun race. Obviously, I wish more people could have showed up for Bristol, but I know Firecracker 400's going on, so probably has something to do with that.
Yeah, definitely a bit of competition there with that race. But either way, you put on a great show for us, even with the small field. Not small on action here tonight. So congrats on the win, and we'll catch you next week at Nashville.
10-4, see you there, Adam.
All right. As Connor Horn race winner, go to second place finisher now, Keith Mayato. Keith, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy.
10-4.
Well, Keith, it came down to those last 30 or 40 laps. You and Connor Horn, nose to tail. It's going to be hard to make the pass. You almost got there, but just maybe didn't feel like using the chrome horn tonight, or what was the plan there with the last little bit to go?
Yeah, using the bumper would probably have been the easiest way to do it. So Connor has never driven me dirty, so I'm not gonna start that now. But one of those nights where that caution came out before the stage end, and that changed everything. And I think if that didn't happen, and I never would have fallen back to 5th or 6th. I don't think that I probably would have had a very good chance of finishing on top.
Yeah, you dominated that first section of the race. You were just driving away, and then we were saying it looked like you were going to win the stage, and then I think you ended up 6th in the stage, so not where we expected. But you worked your way back up there. What was it like trying to make those passes early on in stage 2 and put yourself back in position to try and win this thing?
Yeah, that was the hardest part of the race. It was just really hard to pass. If someone protected the outside, it was very rare for someone to make that move on the inside. I tried many times with certain guys, but unless you had a lot better tires than your competitor, you had that chance. But that was the downside tonight. It was just really hard to make a pass, even though it could be like a 10th quicker, and that it would just null and void as soon as you got behind them.
Yeah, it's so hard to make a pass down there in the low line, especially late in the run, and that seemed to be kind of what you struggled with there behind AJ and then behind Connor. It's just if you hold the high line, or if they hold the high line, very hard to make that pass underneath them. But you gave it a great effort and almost got that second victory of the season. We go to Nashville Super Speedway next week. I don't know if you've had any chance to try it out or anything, but what are your thoughts on going there?
No, I haven't tried it out. I've seen some YouTube videos. It looks like a fun track. So hopefully the aero tight is not so bad there, and we can have some good racing.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a fun one to follow this one up, and hopefully a little bigger field. But either way, you put on a great show for us here, finishing second after starting on the pole. You do lead 38 laps on the way to the runner-up finish. And anybody you want to give a shout-out to?
Yeah, shout out to everyone at VRL for putting all the work in every week. Yourself, Adam, and also sponsoring me. So it's all good.
Awesome, Keith. Well, congrats on that run. It was definitely fun watching you out there. And we'll catch you later and catch you next week.
Take care, Adam.
All right. Keith Mayato, second place finisher for Team V-Speed. Let's go to third place now. That is Yusuf Ghali. Yusuf, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You get a copy.
Yes, sir.
Well, Yusuf, maybe not quite how you imagined you'd finish in third place. Only 2 cars on the lead lap here tonight, but you were really good there in some of those runs, especially earlier on in the race. What changed for you there as the race progressed?
How to drive Bristol with tight setup. So once Miato and Connor got around me, I knew I wasn't going to be able to win the race, maybe finish within 2 or 3 seconds of them because I had older tires. So I just decided I'd go to the back and see if I could stay in podium places while being a lap down, just to say I did that, because I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I was gonna say if one of those 2 wasn't out there, then it would have been a single car on the lead lap kind of deal, but just 2 up there on the lead lap, and you don't see it very much, like you said. But yeah, I mean, there was nobody else in their zip code, but you were the next closest, and you know, you're 8th in points, I think, coming into tonight's race. Just a few more remaining in the regular season. You know, what does a podium finish do to kind of keep the momentum up going into the playoffs?
Not much, because tracks in the regular season are completely different from the ones in the playoffs, because we got a lot of like medium-sized tracks there. So I don't really think a lot of the results from the regular season are going to transfer to the playoffs.
Gotcha. But still looking for that first victory. You know, nice to get up there on the podium. We go to Nashville next week. Have you gotten to try that out yet, or you know, what are your thoughts on going out there?
I got like 2 laps there like a week ago, but I mean, there's not really much. Like, as long as you're in the playoffs, it doesn't matter if you win or not. So I'm just gonna ride around until the playoffs actually start, and then I'll start trying to, you know, getting a bit rough with Connor and all those guys.
Yeah, we saw you racing it up with him tonight. Definitely a lot of fun there early on, and yeah, still looking for that first victory of the season. You're looking to repeat on the championship, and on your way there into the playoffs. So 3rd place tonight. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Just Reggie for being a good admin, honestly. People can give him slack, but I think he does a great job with the league.
Awesome, Yusuf. Well, congrats on the top 3, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.
All right. 3rd place finisher, Yusuf Ghali. Not quite the run that he probably wanted, but still ends up on the podium. I mean, a lap down in 3rd place. You don't see it very often, but everybody else was at least 1 lap down in a small field here tonight. And Connor Horn came away with that race win. So again, congrats to him. Let's go through the rest of the results and head on out for the night. 2 cautions tonight, 1 for a wreck there right before the stage, and then the stage break, and then only 8 lead changes in total here. Most of those coming right around that period as well. Connor Horn comes away with the race win after starting all the way in 12th. He holds off a hard-charging Keith Maotto, who finishes in 2nd. Yusuf Ghali finishes 3rd. Zach Halpern with a much-needed 4th-place run. Mark Emerson finishes 5th. Elliot Butler finishes in 6th. Greg Wellen finishes 7th. Jeremiah Vincent finishes in 8th. Angelo Ronas finishes 9th. Rounding out the top 10, Jeremy Miller, who won the stage, but didn't end up probably where he would have liked tonight. 11th position, AJ Stravato will most likely lose the points lead to Connor Horn with this result, so we'll have to see how it all shakes out and what the difference is there. But AJ going to be scrambling for the next few races to try and get back on top before the regular season ends. Safe Ferris finishes in the 12th position. Garrett Kite finishes 13th. Jeff Wright took it behind the wall early. He finishes in 14th here this evening. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight for the Bristol 200 in the Virtual Racing League. We'll be back next week with Nashville Super Speedway. If you've never seen any racing there, it will be the first time I've also seen it. So should be a lot of fun. A 1.5-mile racetrack. Kind of races a little bit more like a short track, like you heard from Connor Horn there. So excited for that one. Tune in next Wednesday, 9:25 p.m. Eastern, to catch that race. You can also find us at all these different social media outlets to keep up with what we're doing. We post updates weekly on Twitter and Facebook about the broadcasts coming up. You can also catch race replays and everything else right here on YouTube, and should be doing some streaming live on Twitch coming up in the next couple months for a couple different types of sims and racing games as well. So keep an eye out for that. Also visit us at vspeedsim.com to check out our different services and offerings, and if there's anything we can help you with to take your iRacing experience to the next level. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and have a great night.